The wrong number flashed across Mia Ellis's phone screen at precisely the moment her bathroom ceiling started to leak again. Water dripped steadily onto her favorite bath mat, creating a growing puddle that threatened to seep through to her downstairs neighbor's apartment. "Not today," Mia muttered, frantically searching through her contacts for the number of the contractor who had fixed her kitchen sink last month. Finding it, she typed out a desperate message. "Hi there. The ceiling's leaking again in my bathroom. Can you come by today? It's getting worse by the minute. I'm at 512 Heatherwood Apts. Thanks." Mia she hit send without a second thought and scrambled to position a bucket under the growing leak. Across town, in a sleek penthouse office overlooking the city skyline, Oliver Radcliffe's phone buzzed. The 34-year-old real estate developer and millionaire glanced at the unfamiliar number, reading the message with confusion. He had never been to Heatherwood Apartments, nor had he ever fixed anyone's ceiling. Yet something about the panicked tone of the text made him hesitate before deleting it. Oliver ran a hand through his dark hair and looked out at the city he was steadily reshaping with his developments. After a moment of deliberation, he typed back, "I think you have the wrong number. I'm not a contractor." Mia's phone pinged as she was on her hands and knees mopping up water. She read the response and groaned, "Great. Another thing gone wrong today. So sorry. Desperate times with water pouring through my ceiling. Have a good day." Oliver found himself smiling at the response. He should have left it at that, but something compelled him to reply, "No problem. Hope you get it fixed soon. Water damage is no joke." Mia paused her frantic cleaning to read the message. Most wrong numbers would have just ignored her after the mix-up. She appreciated the small kindness on a day when everything seemed to be falling apart. "Thanks for the sympathy. Currently using every pot and pan I own as a makeshift drainage system." Beginning to think Noah had the right idea with that arc. In his office, Oliver laughed out loud, surprising himself. He rarely found time for personal messages during work hours, but this stranger's humor in the face of disaster was refreshing compared to the sterile business correspondence filling his inbox. Perhaps build the arc in the bathroom. Though your downstairs neighbors might not appreciate the construction noise on top of the water damage. As she waited for the actual contractor to call back, Mia found herself engaged in conversation with the wrong number. There was something easy about talking to a stranger who expected nothing from her. "Downstairs neighbor already hates me for practicing violin at unreasonable hours. 6 p.m. is unreasonable. An arc might be the final straw in our relationship." Oliver glanced at the clock. He had a meeting in 10 minutes with investors about his latest luxury apartment complex, but he found himself more interested in continuing this conversation. "Sounds like a challenging neighbor. What do you play on violin?" Mia smiled, touched that the stranger had asked a personal question. "Classical mostly, though I've been working on some film scores lately. I teach music at Westfield Elementary. The leak is directly above where I store my instruments, so you can imagine my panic level." Oliver's interest peaked. He had always appreciated music, but never had time to pursue it beyond being an enthusiastic listener. "I'd panic too. Did the real contractor ever respond?" Mia glanced at her phone, where there was still no response from the actual plumber. "Nope. Left 3 voicemails now. I've moved from panic to resignation. Might just move into my bathtub permanently." Oliver looked at the time again. His meeting was starting soon, but he felt an unexpected urge to help this stranger. "I know some reliable contractors. If yours doesn't call back soon, I could recommend someone." Mia hesitated, not wanting to impose on this kind wrong number, but the situation was becoming desperate. "That would actually be amazing if you don't mind. Thank you, kind stranger whose number I texted by accident." Oliver smiled and sent her the contact information for the head maintenance manager who worked on all his properties. He knew Mark would respond quickly and do a professional job. "His name is Mark. Tell him Oliver sent you." Mia immediately called the number, and to her surprise, Mark answered on the first ring and promised to be at her apartment within the hour. When she texted the wrong number again, she was genuinely grateful. "Your friend Mark is already on his way. I can't thank you enough." How do you know such responsive contractors when mine seems to have fallen off the face of the earth? Oliver paused, unsure how to answer without revealing too much about himself. He didn't usually share personal details with strangers, but there was something refreshing about someone not knowing who he was or what he owned. "Let's just say I work in real estate and know good people when I find them." For the next hour, as Mark fixed Mia's ceiling, she continued texting with Oliver, their conversation flowing naturally from topic to topic. She learned he loved classical music, but couldn't play an instrument, while he discovered she had moved to the city 3 years ago to teach after graduating with a music education degree. When Mark finished the repair, Mia was surprised when he refused payment. "Already taken care of," Mark said with a smile. "Mr. Radcliffe said to put it on his account." Mia frowned in confusion. "Wait, who's Mr. Radcliffe?" "The gentleman who referred you," Mark replied, packing up his tools. "Oliver Radcliffe." The name sounded vaguely familiar, but Mia couldn't place it. She immediately texted her wrong number again. "Your friend Mark just fixed everything perfectly but refused payment. He mentioned someone named Oliver Radcliffe. Is that you? I can't let you pay for my repairs." Oliver was just exiting his investor meeting when the message came through. He grimaced slightly, his anonymity now broken. "Yes, that's me. Don't worry about the payment. Consider it my good deed for the day." Mia quickly searched the name online and gasped as hundreds of results appeared. Oliver Radcliffe, real estate mogul. Oliver Radcliffe, millionaire developer. Oliver Radcliffe, the city's most eligible bachelor according to last year's business magazine. "I just Googled you. You're that Oliver Radcliffe, the one building the new arts district downtown. I can't accept this. Please let me pay you back." Oliver stepped into his office, loosening his tie. For some reason, he felt disappointed that she now knew who he was. The brief anonymity had been refreshing, guilty as charged, and really, it's fine. Mark works for me anyway. "But I have to ask, what did Google tell you about me? Those articles are rarely accurate." Mia hesitated, staring at the photos of the handsome businessmen in tailored suits at various charity events and groundbreakings. "That you're basically reshaping the entire city skyline, worth millions and apparently the city's most eligible bachelor. Which makes me feel even worse about the ceiling repair. Though the article didn't mention your secret life as a wrong number answering hero." Oliver laughed. "That last part is a new development. Look, if you feel strongly about it, you can repay me by telling me if the new violin concerto at the Symphony Hall next month is worth attending. I have tickets, but know nothing about violin music." Mia's heart skipped a beat. This handsome millionaire was asking for her professional opinion. That's Chen mailing performing, and she's absolutely brilliant. Definitely go. Her interpretation of Tchaikovsky alone is worth the ticket price. Their text conversation continued through the evening and into the next few days. Oliver found himself checking his phone between meetings, looking forward to Mia's messages about her students' antics or her thoughts on music. Mia discovered that, despite his wealth, Oliver was down to earth and genuinely interested in her life and opinions. A week after the leaking ceiling incident, Oliver took a chance. "This might sound strange, but would you like to meet for coffee? There's a place near Westfield Elementary called Brewers that I've heard has great pastries." Mia stared at her phone, her heart racing. She'd enjoyed their conversations immensely, but meeting in person was different. Would the easy rapport they'd developed over text translate to real life? "I go to Brewers almost daily. How about tomorrow after school lets out? I'll be the one with the violin case and probably some glitter in my hair, art project day with the third graders." The next day, Oliver arrived at Brewers 15 minutes early, uncharacteristically nervous. He'd canceled a property tour to make this meeting and found himself hoping it would be worth it. He chose a quiet corner table and waited. When Mia walked in, she spotted him immediately. The photos online hadn't done justice to his presence. He was taller than she expected, with broad shoulders and warm brown eyes that crinkled slightly at the corners when he smiled at her. Despite his obvious wealth evidenced by the impeccably tailored suit and designer watch, he had a disarming smile that immediately put her at ease. "Oliver?" she asked, approaching the table with her violin case. He stood to greet her. "Mia, it's nice to finally meet you in person. I see you've kept your promise about the glitter," he added, gesturing to the sparkles dusting her auburn hair. Mia laughed, brushing ineffectively at her hair. "Third graders were making magic wands today. I think I'll be finding glitter in strange places for weeks." Their coffee stretched to nearly 2 hours as they discovered their text chemistry translated perfectly to real life. Oliver found himself captivated by Mia's animated expressions as she described her love for teaching. Mia was surprised by how attentively Oliver listened, asking thoughtful questions about her work and passions. "So why elementary school music?" Oliver asked, genuinely curious. "With your talent, you could be performing professionally," Mia smiled, tracing the rim of her coffee mug. "I tried that path for a while. But there's something special about watching a child connect with music for the first time, seeing that spark when they successfully play their first note or understand a musical concept. It's like witnessing small miracles every day." Oliver nodded, understanding completely. "That's how I feel about my development projects. Not the luxury condos that pay the bills, but the community centers and affordable housing developments. Seeing how a well-designed space can transform a neighborhood or give someone a fresh start, that's the real reward." As they prepared to leave, both found themselves reluctant to end their meeting. "This was nice," Mia said, gathering her things. "Much better than texting about leaking ceilings. Would it be too forward to ask if we could do it again?" Oliver asked, his usually confident demeanor slightly tentative. Mia smiled. "I'd like that. Next time I promise to come glitter-free." "I don't know," he teased. "The glitter has a certain charm." Their second meeting became a third, then a fourth. Coffee turned into dinner. Dinner led to walks in the park and visits to museums. Oliver found himself scheduling meetings around seeing Mia. For the first time in years, work wasn't his sole focus. A month after their first meeting, Oliver invited Mia to the symphony performance they had discussed in their early text messages. He sent a car to pick her up, and when she arrived at Symphony Hall, he was waiting outside. Mia had worn a simple blue dress that brought out the color of her eyes, and Oliver couldn't help but stare as she approached. "You look beautiful," he said simply. Mia blushed. "Thank you. It's not often I get to dress up for a performance rather than chase children with triangles all day." During the concert, Oliver found himself watching Mia more than the stage. Her face was animated as she followed the music, occasionally closing her eyes to better absorb a particularly moving passage. He realized he was falling for her, this woman who had accidentally texted him and brought unexpected joy into his carefully ordered life. After the performance, they strolled along the riverfront, the city lights reflecting on the water. "What did you think?" Mia asked, genuinely interested in his impression of the music. "It was incredible," Oliver admitted. "I've attended symphonies before but never really understood what I was hearing. Watching you experience it made me hear it differently." Mia smiled. "That's why I teach. Music is a language everyone can understand, but sometimes we need a little translation." They stopped at a bench overlooking the water, and Oliver took a deep breath before speaking. "Mia, I need to tell you something." His serious tone made her heart skip nervously. "What is it?" "I've never connected with anyone the way I have with you. These past weeks have been the happiest I can remember. I know it started with a wrong number, but it feels incredibly right." Mia's eyes softened. "I feel the same way. I've never been able to just be myself with someone so completely." "That's the thing," Oliver continued. "Most people I meet have preconceptions about me because of my wealth or what they've read in the business pages. But you treated me like a normal person from the beginning." "Because you are a normal person," Mia said simply. A normal person who happens to own half the city. Oliver laughed, the tension breaking. Hardly half, maybe a quarter at most. As weeks turned into months, their relationship deepened. Oliver found himself spending more time at Mia's modest apartment than his penthouse, enjoying the cozy warmth of her space compared to his stylish but impersonal home. One evening, as they cooked dinner together in her small kitchen, Oliver realized he'd never felt more at home anywhere. Mia was telling him about a breakthrough with a struggling student while chopping vegetables, her face animated with passion for her work. "I've been thinking," Oliver said suddenly. "Always dangerous," Mia teased, nudging him with her elbow. "What if we looked for a place together?" The question surprised even him as it left his mouth, but he immediately knew it was right. Mia paused her chopping, turning to face him. "Are you serious?" "Completely. I love being with you. My place is too big and impersonal. Yours is wonderful but has vengeful plumbing." They both laughed at the reference to how they met. "We could find something that's ours." Instead of answering immediately, Mia reached up and kissed him softly. "I would love that." Their house-hunting adventures became a new chapter in their relationship. Despite his wealth, Oliver appreciated that Mia insisted on finding a place they could both contribute to financially, even if her teacher's salary meant her portion was significantly smaller. "It's not about equal amounts," she explained. "It's about equal commitment." They eventually found a charming brownstone near both her school and his office. It needed renovations, which Oliver was excited to oversee personally rather than delegate as he normally would. 6 months into their relationship, Oliver invited Mia to the groundbreaking ceremony for his latest project, an arts and education center in an underserved neighborhood. He'd been working on the concept since before they met, but Mia's passion for music education had influenced many of the final design elements. "This is incredible," Mia said, reviewing the plans before the ceremony. "These practice rooms, the recording studio for teens, the community performance space, this will transform so many lives." Oliver squeezed her hand. "I added the elementary music program wing after hearing you talk about limited resources in schools. Each classroom will be fully equipped with instruments and technology." Mia's eyes filled with tears. "Oliver, that's the most thoughtful thing anyone's ever done. You inspired it," he said simply. "You helped me see possibilities I was missing before." At the ceremony, the mayor invited Oliver to speak about the project. Standing at the podium, Oliver looked out at the gathered crowd, his eyes finding Mia's supportive gaze. "This center represents what I believe should be the heart of all development, creating spaces that serve genuine community needs and foster human potential," he began. "But I'd like to share a personal story about how this particular project evolved." He smiled at Mia before continuing. 7 months ago, my phone buzzed with a text from a stranger about a leaking ceiling. A wrong number that turned out to be exactly right. That accidental message led me to meet an extraordinary teacher who showed me what true passion for education looks like." Mia blushed as several heads turned toward her. Her dedication to her students and belief in the transformative power of arts education directly influenced the center we're breaking ground on today. "She taught me that buildings aren't just structures, they're vessels for human possibility." After the ceremony, as they walked back to their car, Mia squeezed his hand. "That was a beautiful speech, though I'm not sure how I feel about being known as wrong number girl to the entire city council." Oliver laughed. "Would you prefer leaky ceiling lady?" That night, as they enjoyed a quiet dinner at home, Oliver seemed uncharacteristically nervous. He kept checking his phone and adjusting his tie, which was unusual for their casual home evenings. "Is everything okay?" Mia finally asked. "You've checked your watch 5 times in the last 10 minutes." Oliver took a deep breath. "Actually, I'm waiting for an important call. Work emergency. No, something much more important." He reached across the table for her hand. "Do you remember our first real conversation over text when you joked about building an ark in your bathroom?" Mia smiled at the memory. And you were concerned about the construction noise bothering my cranky neighbor. From that very first exchange, there was something about you that felt different. You were funny and resilient and completely yourself. I found myself looking forward to your messages more than anything else in my day. Mia's eyes softened. I felt the same way. It was so easy talking to you. When we finally met in person, I was terrified that the connection wouldn't be the same, but it was even better. Oliver's phone buzzed and he quickly checked it. Ah, perfect timing. What's going on? Mia asked, confused. I need to show you something. It's about our future. He stood and led her to the balcony of their brownstone, which overlooked a small but charming garden below. When Oliver opened the balcony doors, Mia gasped. The garden had been transformed with hundreds of twinkling lights and floating candles in the small pond. In the center, arranged with rose petals, was the message, "Will you marry me?" As she turned back to Oliver in shock, she found him on one knee, holding a small velvet box. Mia Ellis, you texted the wrong number but found the right heart. Every day with you has been the best wrong turn I've ever taken. Would you do me the extraordinary honor of becoming my wife? Tears filled Mia's eyes as she nodded, too overcome for words at first. Finally, she managed to whisper, "Yes, 1,000 times yes." Oliver slipped the elegant diamond ring onto her finger before standing to kiss her deeply. "I promise," he murmured against her lips, "to answer every text, fix every leak, and love you for the rest of our lives." Mia laughed through her happy tears. "And I promise to occasionally text you by accident just to keep things interesting." Their wedding the following spring was an elegant but intimate affair held at the newly completed Arts Center. Mia's students performed a surprise musical piece they had been secretly rehearsing for months, bringing tears to both Mia's and Oliver's eyes. During their first dance, Oliver held Mia close and whispered, "I never thought a leaky ceiling would lead me to the love of my life." Mia smiled up at him. "I never thought a wrong number would lead me to my happily ever after." A year later, they welcomed their daughter, Sophia, whose nursery featured a whimsical Noah's Ark theme, a nod to the leak that had started it all. Oliver proved to be an adoring and hands-on father, often bringing Sophia to Mia's classroom, where she became the unofficial mascot of the music department. On their second anniversary, Mia presented Oliver with a framed printout of their first text exchange, beautifully matted and preserved behind glass. "Our modern love story," she said as he unwrapped it. "From wrong number to right partner." Oliver traced the words with his finger, smiling at the memory. "Best mistake you ever made." "Second best," Mia corrected, handing him a small package. Inside was a tiny violin and a note that read, "Baby 2 arriving in 7 months. Hope you're ready for another musician in the family." Oliver's face lit up with joy as he swept Mia into his arms. Another perfect wrong turn in our perfectly right life together. As they stood in their home, surrounded by the life they had built together from an accidental text, they both marveled at how the universe sometimes sent love through the most unexpected channels, even a leaky ceiling and a wrong phone number. 5 years after that fateful text, with 2 children and thriving careers, Oliver and Mia often reflected on how a single message sent in panic had changed everything. Their life together wasn't perfect. They had disagreements and challenges like any couple, but their foundation was unshakable. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if I double-checked the number that day?" Mia asked one evening as they sat on their balcony, watching their children play in the garden below. Oliver smiled, taking her hand in his. "I'm convinced we would have found each other somehow." Some connections are just meant to be, even if they start with a mistake.